you know, he went to every record company that he could get anywhere near. I mean, that covered everybody really. There were only 15 or 20 labels to be approached, and he went to everyone, and they all looked at him as if he was mad. I mean, I think the biggest problem that he had was that Tubular Bells was essentially a set of sketches. It wasn't anything like the album ended up being. It was a little tiny 3-inch tape, you know, a 3-inch, little 1/4-inch tape mono of just these bits of music, one of which had the backing of a Hoover. It had a tone going along, which was his mum's Hoover, and it happened to be in G, and he played this beautiful melody over the Hoover and stuff like that. And I saw in the poignancy of it was so poignant, it was romantic, and it was full of pain as well, and anger, and I saw a whole range of human emotions in that little tiny demo tape of 5 minutes worth of stuff. And obviously record companies are looking for the next Tommy Steele or Elvis Presley or Beatles or Rolling Stones or whoever it might have been at the time. Well, at the time it would have been, I suppose, they would have been looking for a Yes or a whoever was around at that time. Can't remember, too long ago. And it was obvious to me that this was beautiful, beautiful music. And I was so determined to get it done. I didn't look any further. I didn't see that it was going to be a hit record. I just wanted it done so that it would be available to people who would recognise the beauty of it. And I've got to say that, I mean, had it been up to me, there would still be all the boxes of records lying about in the hallway, because what the other beautiful thing that I learned was that it's very easy to make a record, and it's very, very hard. It's much harder to sell one than it is to make it. And because of that, I mean, had Virgin Records not been Richard, then it wouldn't have happened. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, you made Tubular Bells, you made Richard Branson wealthy and blah, blah. I didn't make him wealthy. He was going to be wealthy anyway. It didn't matter, you know, that it was me. But the fact remains that he made Mike because no one else could have sold that record in the way that Richard did. He was absolutely relentless in going for it. I mean, when we first played it to him, Richard didn't understand. He's not got a great musical ear, it must be said, bless him. And Simon Draper, who was the other partner, or one of the other partners, the one with the musical ear, you know, he had a gigantic record collection. He recognised instantly how beautiful the piece of music was when I played it to Simon. And we left it for a year because we weren't in a financially viable position when we first heard the record, or the demo, to be able to do anything with it. And Mike, meantime, went all round all the other record companies, and then he came back to us a year later and we talked about it again, and Simon finally said, I think we're probably in good enough shape. And so we brought Richard in to the meeting and played it to Richard, and he said, well, yeah, but what about, there's no songs, how am I going to sell that? It's got no words, and it's going to be 25 minutes or 30 minutes long. And so he immediately saw the problems, but you see, to someone like Richard, he saw that as a challenge. He didn't see it as a problem. He saw it as a difficulty that needs surmounting, and he did it brilliantly. You know, he just would not give up on it. And everyone he went to, all the DJs and the radio stations and the various people that he tried to get interested, I mean, bless him, they all said, well, what is it? How do you categorise that? You know, because it was unplayable as far as DJs were concerned, because it didn't have any little grooves that you could drop in and get 2 minutes worth, you know, because it was still in that time recognised that you should only play 2 minutes. You know, man's attention span is only 2.5 minutes long. But of course, it was very, very fortuitous that John Peel was around, because John played the entire side, and that was what really kicked it off. John had the balls to actually play the whole record. And so there were a couple of other people that did that as well. Whispering Bob Harris played a bit of it, and all sorts of, not all sorts of, but a few people picked up on it and went with it. And then a guy called Tony Stavaker decided to do an arts TV program on it called Second House, and that's really what got it recognised. And then of course Bill Friedkin picked it up and put it in The Exorcist, and that was it then, really. Yeah. And then the difficulty was trying to get Michael to do it live, and he was dead against it.